Or YouTube this afternoon. We've had some thunderstorms that have been rumbling across the area this afternoon. We've had some into northwest Texas. We've had some into southern parts of Oklahoma. And we have a nice line of thunderstorms that's now developed across the southern parts of northwest Texas, and that's tracking pretty quick off to the east. Looks like we're going to see a threat for damaging winds with that line of thunderstorms. We've also got... and I'll show you the radar here in just a minute. We've also got some supercells that developed. They were closer to the Decatur area. Those have now tracked north of the Metroplex, and they are crossing the Red River this afternoon into southeastern Oklahoma. There's also some supercellular type thunderstorms trying to develop out ahead of it now across the eastern sides of Dallas and over into the eastern parts of Texas. So we're going to watch that. Tornado watches are in effect for those areas. Up closer to my area that I watch, or that my area, part of northwest Texas, southwest Oklahoma, severe thunderstorm watches are in effect. I still think the overall severe threat for northwest Texas is not all that high. Mostly just seeing some periodic bouts of some mostly small hail. I'll show you that here in just a moment. So let's talk a little bit more about what's going on. Here is the radar this afternoon. And on the radar, the yellow area you see there, that would be a tornado watch. That includes area south and east of my main viewing area. So that would be places like Breckenridge, Mineral Wells, towards Weatherford, into the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, Denton, Decatur, over towards McKinney, and then you kind of go east from there. That's where those tornado watches are in effect. It covers even into the eastern parts of Texas. That's a pretty big tornado watch. It goes all the way into the Arklatex, and that's in effect until this evening. It also includes the southeastern parts of Oklahoma. You know, so far these storms have kind of been just kind of subpar. We've seen some periodic bouts of a little bit of hail with it. But we have not seen a lot in the way of severe weather, not yet. But we'll see what happens as these storms try to develop into a more favorable environment. There's a warm front that's just kind of been sitting to the south this afternoon, and that's just kind of slowed, kind of kept everything that's kind of down into those areas there. Kind of just, that's where your best chances for storms will be located, is along and kind of out in front of all of that. So we will take a look. I was trying to turn off these all these watches and whatnot, but and my computer's making those loud noises. I just bumped it, try to maybe get it to turn off a little bit. So so if you hear some buzzing in the background, it's just my computer making those noises. So here's the strongest storms that I'm watching kind of into my area. I'm kind of start over here in the West Texas, and then we'll go eastward from there. We got some storm chasers out there. We'll try to show you some video from them. But there's your strongest storms that are affecting kind of central and the north central parts of Texas this afternoon. We can put that into motion. That's a pretty good line of thunderstorms that's popped up and developed. It's over there just to the west of Breckenridge and kind of west of Graham. The storms are actually building into Young counties now. Most of these storms have been elevated this afternoon. And what I mean by elevated storms, I mean that their bases are a little bit higher in the sky. So you don't get the same type of severe weather with what we call elevated thunderstorms that you would with what we call surface-based storms. That just means that the storms themselves are a little bit closer to the Earth's surface. It's a little bit easier for those storms to produce the stronger winds, the bigger hail, and tornadoes when that happens. But when they're elevated, you usually don't have to worry about that too much, and that's mostly what we've been dealing with today. Elevated storms mostly produce hail. We do have some pretty strong storms down towards the Breckenridge area, just north of Abilene. We've also seen some supercells try to develop out ahead of this line. So far, those storms are kind of back into the cooler air too. They're kind of elevated, but once they get further east, they get into a more favorable environment where there's a little more instability, a little bit more surface-based instability. So that allows for those storms to perhaps begin to get a little bit more severe. But these storms that are west of Breckenridge, they're moving eastward. We'll watch and see if the damaging wind threats can increase with those. Right now, it's mostly a hail threat. There are some warnings out west of Breckenridge and southwest of Graham. Heavy thunderstorms thunderstorms into Throckmorton with just some heavy rain, and that's going to build over towards Graham. We can go further north into Olney. There's some pretty good rain developing there. Pretty good thunderstorms also this afternoon. Been rumbling across northwest Texas, so we've seen some little bouts of some small hail from time to time. And currently, as of now, we're also seeing in and around Wichita Falls, Burke Burnett, some showers and some storms. And we're going to continue to see that off and on throughout the afternoon. But I think the severe threat, at least up to the Red River in northwest Texas and southwest Oklahoma, is very, very low. Anything we see here would just be some bouts of just mostly small hail. But anything severe probably will stay south into the southeast of us. But down towards Graham, again, we're watching those storms to the west of you. Those could be pretty nasty, some really heavy rain producers. We'll see perhaps some bouts of small hail there too, and maybe some gusty winds with time, especially as they get further east. Matter of fact, this is the main line of storms that's developing now. We got our main upper air storm system, main storm energy kicking in. It's kicked off a line of storms, and this is going to expand to the east this afternoon and this evening. You're going to see a pretty big area of thunderstorms, pretty big line of storms move across East Texas later on this evening and tonight. I think that the threat for tornadoes will be highest with any supercells that we get over this way. We're trying to see supercells now develop into what I would consider a pretty favorable tornado environment across East Texas. We have a lot of spin in the atmosphere over here. We have a lot of instability. I was just talking about elevated versus surface-based. When you get a more humid, a more warm, moist atmosphere, those storms are able to root down closer to the Earth's surface, so you'll have surface-based storms over that way. It makes them easier to produce tornadoes and damaging winds and hail. That would be across northeast Texas, east central Texas, maybe into the Dallas area. I'm going to kind of go down a little bit further into Dallas here. This is a supercell developing on the east side of Dallas this afternoon. We'll have to watch these as they make their way to the northeast, as they will try to intensify and become severe, maybe up towards Greenville and the Sulphur Springs area, maybe maybe towards Sherman. We'll keep an eye on that. We're also watching other thunderstorms that are trying to become supercells this afternoon, kind of over into the area east of Terrell, kind of along Interstate 20 over there towards Tyler and into Canton. As those storms make their way north and northeastward, they could mature some, so we could see the severe threat increase with some of those, maybe even a bit of a tornado threat with time. We'll have to keep a close eye on any storms that can develop down to the south of this and then move into this area. Again, that area is a little more favorable for tornadoes with any supercell that can develop back that way. We're also watching for the possibility for some supercells kind of back towards central Texas that may try to make their way towards Fort Worth this evening or Dallas. Now, this line of storms that's north of there, as it pushes on through, your severe threat will end. That's going to cool the atmosphere and zap any instability out of it. I wouldn't be surprised to see some severe thunderstorm warnings maybe come out for southern Young County. That might include Graham if those storms can continue to intensify. I'm going to go into these areas that are up towards Gainesville, pretty much along I-35 north of Denton. This storm here that is north of Denton, about to cross the Red River there, just east of Gainesville and not far away from Sherman. That's a big, big supercell thunderstorm, and the hail signatures on that storm are very, very large. So that is a nasty-looking thunderstorm. We've had some rotation on it from time to time. But what happens with those thunderstorms, they wind up jumping up north of the boundary, and then they wind up becoming a little bit elevated. But these storms, I believe, in my opinion, are right along that warm frontal boundary I was talking about, or stall boundary. And there is a little rotation in it. But the overall atmosphere, at least in the proximity of the storm, somewhat favorable for it to spin and rotate. So we'll see if that happens. It's tried to rotate at times. It's tried to organize at times. But it just hasn't been able to get its act together. So we'll watch that and see what happens as it crosses the Red River over into the Durant area, and then maybe eventually kind of south and southeast of Ardmore. That area may be a little bit more favorable for it to produce perhaps of tornadoes. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I want to get that away. I don't want that there to pop up. So that's really all I got for right now. Let's put on the back on the reflectivity. I don't know what that is. Oh, I think I just accidentally clicked on something wrong there. So let's get back out of that. I don't want short range reflectivity. I want Um, this system, I don't really like this. I'm using Radar Omega here, and I don't really like it that much, to be honest about it. It's got a lot of features. It's really cool, but it to me it's just kind of a little bit. It's just so many features, and it's hard to operate sometimes. But anyway. I'm watching those storms, and like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see some additional severe thunderstorm warnings come out here for some of our area. Let me see if I can get out of this mode here. I think I accidentally clicked on one of these airport radars here, so I may need to try to figure out what to do to get out of that. Give me just a second here, and it's not letting me, so I don't know what I did to get into this here, but I have, and I don't like it. So, anyway. All right, I'm going to jump off here. Well, actually, let's go to another source. Let's look and see. Like I say, we do have some storm chasers that are out there this afternoon that are that are out there chasing storms. This would be a guy that's kind of over there into into that area, chasing those storms up north of the Red River near Sherman. So we do got chasers in East Texas, and we'll try to show some of those as severe weather starts to unfold this afternoon and this evening. So we'll keep an eye on those this afternoon as they make their way over into a more favorable environment. So maybe these storm chasers will have some pretty cool video they can show us here too. So. All right, well, let's see. I'm going to try to answer a few questions here, and then I'll have to kind of do some playing around with the radar. Plus, I've got to get my show ready for the newscast tonight. I'm working today, so it's not just doing stuff here on Facebook and on YouTube, but I'm also working and on the TV tonight. Now, we're not looking for a lot of severe weather in my particular area this afternoon, but we're going to watch these areas east. Once it kind of gets out of the Metroplex and kind of out of the area I generally kind of follow, we'll probably let it go. I'm not going to follow this stuff over in the Arklatex tonight, but there are plenty of people who probably will be. The Texas storm chasers are real good about following this stuff. Ryan Hall, I'm sure he'll have some stuff on there too. So you can probably watch him over there in the Arklatex if you need to. But we're going to watch the Fort Worth area, kind of the Metroplex area this evening, and see if anything tries to get over there. I like Radar Omega. I just don't understand a lot of the features on it. Like whenever I'll get into something, Angie, it's hard to maneuver out of it. I'm on my laptop, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. So. Petrolia. Somebody wants to know what Petrolia looks like. Well, Petrolia, right now you got some thunderstorms in your area. These are not severe. These are just heavy rain producers. And at the most, maybe some little small bouts of hail, but nothing severe in Petrolia, nothing severe across North Texas at this time. Well, there are some storms that are producing some severe warnings well east of us this afternoon, but nothing here. These storms are basically just going to be heavy rain producers over us. A big line of storms has developed down to the south, down towards Graham. That'll be moving over you shortly with some really heavy downpours. I like Radar Scope 2 better. It's just easier to use, less features, but I think that Radar Omega has better stuff, more useful information there that I like. So, Archer, Leslie, just some good downpours pushing through. Thunder and lightning, yeah, nothing severe at this time, and I don't think there'll be any severe weather down your way. If you get anything, it'll be really small hail. Yeah, some pretty good storms, Jim, about to come through Graham at this time. I wouldn't be surprised to see some warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings issued down that way for some hail. There's some strong winds in that line too, but I'm not sure that those strong winds will make their way into Graham. All right, so somebody wants to know when the next storms. The next storms are moving into Wichita Falls now. Just some downpours and some thunders and lightnings. We'll see wraparound moisture with showers and thunderstorms over us tonight, but they will not be severe. And again, the tornado threat now appears to be mostly east of Dallas, or down there around the Metroplex and kind of east from there. It's kind of what we're watching for tornadoes. Now, there could be some maybe on the south side of Dallas, especially if we get those supercells that don't merge with that line. But as that line moves through, well, you can get a tornado or two. The main threat with that will just be some wind damage and some hail over there in the Metroplex area in the next few hours from now. But East Texas, watch out. Some supercells trying to develop over there now. Northeast Texas especially. Could be some pretty significant severe weather over that way. Somebody wants to know, we'll take the rain watching in Jacksboro. Well, Jacksboro, you haven't seen a whole lot yet, but there's a big area of storms just to your west. To look for the rain and thunderstorms to increase there, probably within the next hour. Could be some wind, could be some hail over towards you. I do see new severe thunderstorm warnings that just gone up from Breckenridge and down towards Lake Breckenridge. That's headed towards PK. So if you're watching me from Possum Kingdom this afternoon, some strong winds and some hail headed in your direction. No tornadoes, just some strong wind and hail over that way. Also, some pretty good supercells north of Brownwood. We'll see. They're going to track up north of Stephenville and maybe kind of east of Eastland. And then maybe up towards Weatherford and Cleburne and Fort Worth maybe later on this evening. But as soon as these things can get linear, the threat for significant tornadoes goes down. So that is certainly some good news. Yeah, Alina, I don't know what the deal is with Facebook and Meta. They've screwed up a great platform. That's why I'm encouraging people to switch over to YouTube. I'm still on Facebook too, but I'm encouraging you to go to YouTube. That you'll get the notifications there as long as they're turned on. They don't have any weird, funky algorithms that keep you from getting notifications and whatnot. So Facebook does. Facebook has this feature, this algorithm that if you're using a platform to stream, this is something I'm using called Streamlabs. It streams to multiple platforms at one time, and their algorithms pick up on that, and Facebook doesn't like it. So a lot of times I think they stagger maybe notifications or whatnot. So, but in my opinion, the more people we can reach, the better. At least with this anyway, severe weather. All right, well, I'm going to jump off of Facebook now and YouTube, and we'll have updates this afternoon as needed. As of right now, though, everything doesn't look too bad. So, all right, guys, y'all have a great afternoon. I'll keep an eye on things here. If anything that happens that we need to cut in for here on Facebook or YouTube, I'll be sure to do it. But I got to get ready. I'm not leaving, Carrie. I'm not leaving Facebook. I'm still going to do both. I'm just encouraging you to go to YouTube so you'll be able to get the notifications more easily. And but I'm not leaving Facebook. Don't worry about that. If you look for me on YouTube, it's really simple. It's just meteorologist Ken Johnson. You just go over to YouTube and you find it there. It's pretty easy. Matter of fact, you'll see these popping up from time to time in the bottom of my screen there. It shows my Facebook and my YouTube pages. So go to those, like those, follow those, share those, whatever you need to do. So, Josh, thank you for the updates there, bud, and stay safe if you're out there chasing. So I'll keep an eye on things, but right now everything seems to be under control. Again, in my area, we can show the radar, I think, one more time before we go. Like I say, I've got to get my show ready. I've got to get the forecast ready here. So let me see if I can pull the radar up one more time here. I'm going to exit out of this because for whatever reason, I've done something and screwed up my my sites here. So I'm going to exit out of that. And I'm going to pull it back up so we can look at the radar data one last time. All right, let's see here. Where is my radar omega? Wow, it just went down, looks like. All right, something.